Hello, welcome to the Moxie Press podcast. I am Jessie. This is Andrew. I don't know why I had to introduce you.
I can speak. I can say my own name, but it's fine. Yeah,
Cool.
Cool.
We're
Great.
doing great.
So you might notice that I'm not alone this week. So Jessie has agreed to join back on again.
It's not that I have agreed. It's that the children are sleeping and we have occupied our oldest child and hope that this works.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't just run in here. Can I ask you a quick question before we start? How did you think I did last time?
I think you did very well.
Sweet.
I think you did very well. I could tell that you prepped, which is good.
Yeah.
I am honestly glad that it was you doing that interview because my dyslexia would not have allowed me
it was hard
to
for me.
say her title. What was it? It was like a cognitive neuroscience and social. It was a lot. It was, Isabel Torres was phenomenal. She's very smart, very educated on the subjects, and her piece was very insightful, dismantling narcissism,
cognitive narcissism through
boosting self-esteem. Come on.
Thank you.
Read our author spotlights. So for those of you, we're also live on TikTok right now. So this is the first time that we're like dueling, right? So we have our podcast that we're recording and we are live on TikTok as well. So for those of you that are live on TikTok or just stumbled across this podcast, Moxie Press is a small independent. Why do I say independent?
We're an independent.
Independent publisher on a mission to shake things up. So once a month, we offer an author spotlight of small indie authors, just like us, that do not have to be published. That is like a big point for us, that you don't have to be published. To submit their work and be featured in our newsletter. And so that's what we were just talking about. Isabella Torres was our...
or June.
Thank you. I was like, what month?
Yeah, June.
Yeah. So our submissions are actually closing up for July and August, but we do it every month. So we'll be doing it again for September, but we'll be taking submissions for September in July.
Yeah.
It's kind of complicated.
So. It's also a rolling thing. If you're watching this on TikTok, if you go to our profile and find
currently it is. Our sheet is kind of getting a little like our what we see, like the submissions are getting kind of full, so we might have to have people resubmit every month soon. But right now it is rolling. So if you had submitted for July or August and didn't get chosen for July or August, there's still a possibility that you could be chosen for September, October. So,
yep.
So yeah.
So great. So cool.
So if you want to read these,
yes. Sign up for our newsletter. Sign up for our newsletter. You can find the link in a million places. Go to our website, go to any of our socials, and go to our profiles, and you can go find the link to our newsletter there. It is newsletter.moxiepress.biz. I don't expect people to remember that, but you can find it. It's easy. You can probably Google search Moxie Press newsletter. There are no others. So there you go.
All right.
Perfect.
So this is actually minus like episode 0.
Yeah.
Which was just like us talking about what Moxie Press is, which we should probably do a little bit more because we're still very new to the podcast scene. But minus episode 0, this is the first podcast that is just you and me without having a guest or someone to interview.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Really? I think it's scary.
Well, it's nice to be able to talk to you. We don't talk because we have 3 kids. So this is also just our form of conversation.
I was going to say couples therapy.
That's true. Yeah, we'll work through a lot of stuff during this.
But the topic today, we are talking about one of the chapters of our book, Silly American. Yes. So Silly American is 76 essays on quirky facets of American life. So things like monster trucks, mega malls, Sadie Hawkins dances, super PACs.
Circumcision.
School to prison pipeline. So there's 76 essays, and today, this podcast is obviously, well, not obviously, because there's people here on TikTok that have no idea what day this will be released.
Yes, sure.
But 4th of July.
Yeah.
So Independence Day. So we are talking about the chapter titled
Americans. It's in quotes. You know what? I'm just going to read it, then we'll talk about it after because it'll explain itself. But this is an essay called Americans. It's 1507, and map makers Martin Waldseemüller and Matthias Ringman are feverishly crafting a world map. They decide to name this newly discovered part of the world after Amerigo Vespucci, the Florentine navigator who realized that this isn't just some eastern extension of Asia. They named it America. What they probably didn't anticipate was how the United States would swoop in and say, "Thanks for the name, we'll take it from here." Fast forward a few centuries, and here we are. The people of the United States are casually calling themselves Americans as if the entire double continent did not exist. And to be fair, it's not like Canadians go around calling themselves North Americans or Brazilians term themselves South Americans on the daily. But still, Americans, it's a bit like taking the biggest slice of cake at a birthday party, isn't it? Some suggest it's a lack of distinct demonym. And like how people from Germany are Germans and from Japan are Japanese, what would it be for the U.S.? United Statesians, USians? Both sound like we're trying to order a very complicated Starbucks drink. So Americans it is. Yet, think about our southern neighbors from Mexico down to Argentina. They're technically in America too. Shouldn't they get a slice of the naming pie? Of course, in many parts of Latin America, folks in the U.S. are often referred to as Estadounidenses. I did take Spanish in high school, I should know this. Translated United Statesians, which, though a mouthful, is actually pretty accurate. The name game does stir a pot of identity politics. Claiming American could feel a tad possessive, a linguistic manifest destiny, if you will. It underscores a sometimes myopic worldview where American means baseball, bald eagles, and apple pie, but doesn't encompass the Tango, Andes, or Amazon rainforest. But language is ever evolving, molded by culture, convenience, and yes, a bit of audacity. In the grand scheme of things, American isn't just about nationality. It's a spirit, an ethos. Still, it's always good to remember our expansive, diverse neighborhood. So the next time you declare yourself American, maybe give a nod to our vast continental family. We're all in this hemisphere together, after all. That is a good example of how short these essays are. I don't think we've really hammered that home. We tell people they're short.
They're short. That was an entire essay titled Americans from our book, Silly American. So yeah, it's fitting, obviously, that we're doing this one on the podcast that will be released on 4th of July, the birthday of America.
That's right.
But I just think it's so perfect. I mean, infuriatingly perfect that like we just stole that term.
Yeah.
Well, as we steal a lot of things.
Like people north of us are too polite, and so they were like, "Yeah, okay, we're not gonna shake things up and do it."
I guess I've never asked like a Canadian person about that. Like, how do you? I mean, because there's only one other North American country.
Right. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, like, that's the thing.
but we're not like North Americans. Like we're Americans. So that obviously, in my mind, encompasses like the entirety of the Americas. But like, what do Canadians think?
If there's any Canadians watching us live on TikTok, don't hesitate to tell us. I do know. That would be interesting to find out. I do know one of the reasons when this book was like early in development, I really thought this essay would be good is because when I was in high school, one of my Spanish teachers was very, very anti calling yourself American. By like, if you're just in the United States, it's like, you're not American. So stuff. Like he like yelled at us, but we didn't do anything wrong.
Okay. So what do we call ourselves?
So that's why he was like, you call yourself Estadounidenses. Or
okay. So he was from like South America.
Oh my goodness, where was he from? I can't remember. He's definitely from South America. And so like his whole family's from South America. So I think they took it very personally. I don't think he spoke for all South Americans. Maybe he did or not. He was also just a very passionate, loud, angry man a lot of the time. So he was cool. He did come to a cabaret fundraiser I did for our theater. So he was also a very supportive man. So Mr. Montez, if you're still out there, thank you. Senor Montez, I'm sorry. But yeah, so that's why I thought it was interesting because I admittedly probably wouldn't have thought about that had I not had that memory because we are raised here. Like,
right.
you don't think about it. Yeah, and I think a lot. Yeah, I don't know. It's just funny. So I remember that like was like burned into my brain. So I'm like, there has to be, while this book was being developed, like there has to be something about that because I don't think we consider it like, and I'm not
like on the daily.
But yeah, I think United Statesians do not consider it, which I don't mind. United Statesians, by the way, or a Statesian, stater.
Stadian sounds like we're selling off dead people's things.
Yeah, I don't like that.
What would it be? Stadians?
I don't know. Like, yeah.
People from the States.
Colonizers.
Well, that's kind of, there's a lot of those though.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those. Like in you have in your 9 to 5, you have people from like the UK. Mm-hmm. What do they say?
They do refer to us as Americans.
So that's interesting. So
oh yeah, sorry, keep going. You just reminded me of something.
Okay, so like we say, like we're Americans, they say Americans, whatever. But we also say that we speak English.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but we don't speak English. So the only reason also that I know this is that we went to school we're actors.
In case you couldn't tell.
But we've had to take a lot of like dialect classes and like learning language and dialect was a very large part of our education. And just, I remember that very specifically is that like, we don't technically speak English. Like that is what we speak, but it's not like English is English and like our spellings are different. Like the OUR, like that is English versus what do we call our, like what is our?
So that's also funny because we just call it English, even though they invented it, and now they call it British English.
Oh.
So we took that and then made them rename it.
Wow.
So at work, because
we colonized the colonizer.
Yeah. At work, whenever we talk about, so two things. One, yes, I am in charge of a lot of marketing for North America, technically, but they changed my title to say America.
Oh.
But I was like, so I do South America? They're like, no, there's a whole team for that. I'm like, okay, so just US and Canada? Like, yeah, mostly US. I'm like, so
so there's a Canadian.
So United States? And then whenever people bring up the differences like in marketing copy between English and British English, I don't think they care. I don't think they notice it. I don't think anybody over there is being like,
I don't think
they
they're
call
like
it British.
Well,
but I do, and every time it hits my ear wrong because I'm like, that's their English. We should be calling ourselves American English or something.
So interesting though, since you've been working with this company, I have at least started calling mildly. Okay, so it's between your company and Bluey, the children's TV show. We have kids.
Parents listening and watching now.
I have in my brain started thinking of vacations as holiday.
Yes. Yeah. Which I like better. I think holiday just sounds better. I like going on holiday versus going on a vacation. Yeah, there's a lot of things like that. And again, that pops up a lot at work. People are constantly on holiday. But then when we have actual holidays.
Which is another essay in our book talking about our limited holidays that we have in the United States versus the holidays that our over-the-pond counterparts have as well.
Seriously, anybody listening or watching, if you've ever worked with people from the UK, or like if you haven't yet, you don't realize how limited our time off in the US really is.
And not like sick days. I mean, yes, obviously sick days, but like not in that aspect, but like federal holidays in the UK, I swear there's like at least one a month.
Yeah.
That like, they're like, oh yeah, no,
for sure.
It's a 4-day weekend here. And we're like, what?
Yeah, they're called bank holidays. And I'm like, why is it, why? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Banks just want to be closed. So everything's closed. I'm like, 1, makes no sense. 2, lucky.
Although we are getting more holidays.
Which
is good. Like the banks were closed for Juneteenth. That started 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yes, it was 2 years ago.
So if we start honoring all of the people and the days that we really should be honoring, we would be off a lot more.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very, very true. And there's some companies who do. They have a lot more holidays in the U.S. I just happen to work for one doesn't. Yeah. But yeah, so there we go. So Americans.
What was the thing that you were going to say before I talked about English?
Oh, no, I was going to talk about the North America thing too, where it's like, oh, yeah, no, North America. I'm like, really? It's just really the U.S., but it's deemed America. I do, actually, on that topic, I think part of it is the idea that so much power and focus is put on the United States, like as a superpower, that globally people are it's kind of messed up. But I think a lot of businesses, especially, think of the U.S. as like, let's be honest, where's most of this business coming from? We'll just call it the U.S. America. Like we say America, but it's 90% coming from the U.S. So they don't waste their time differentiating because purely from, I don't agree with it, but purely from a business point of view, it is considered not worth it. And, I won't delve too much. I don't want to give away too many secrets, but so much like revenue in certain industries like I'm in, vast majority comes from the U.S. So that's why from this.
Because we're a consumer nation. Yeah. Like far more than any other nation in the world. Mm-hmm. Americans.
Yeah. So for everyone, since we're also on TikTok Live, for anyone tuning in, we just read an essay. Maybe I will read another one. Should I read another one?
Yeah, do one more. I feel
like now that we're in the groove.
I was going to say...
Yeah, do you have one in mind?
Well, because this podcast is going to be released on the 4th of July, I would say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, well, that's an easy one to find.
Yeah. right out the gate.
Yeah, there it is. Technically, this one's called Children in the Pledge of Allegiance. The main focus is on kids saying it every morning.
Okay, just read it.
Okay, sorry. You're so mean.
I love you.
The Pledge of Allegiance, America's daily dose of patriotic calisthenics. Long before kids can grasp the nuance of the nation's complicated and often horrid history or the principles that underpin its constitution, they're taught to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. The average kindergartner, still navigating the complexities of shoelaces and snack time, is introduced to this solemn vow of fidelity. Without context or comprehension, young minds dutifully repeat the words each morning, turning a pledge steeped in history and significance into something more akin to a daily routine, like brushing one's teeth or packing a lunchbox. While instilling a sense of patriotism from a tender age might have its merits, one must wonder, what's the value of a pledge if its deeper meaning is lost in its rote repetition? Now, the pledge didn't just waltz into classrooms uninvited. It made its debut in 1892, penned by Francis Bellamy, a Christian socialist, which is somewhat ironic considering how it's been brandished in modern political warfare. Originally, Bellamy intended it as a one-off thing for a Columbus Day celebration, but like all things unique to the U.S., the pledge stuck around and dug its heels in. Over the years, the pledge has undergone a few makeovers. It wasn't until 1954, in the frosty climes of the Cold War, that the words "under God" were wedged in, because nothing says our system's better than yours to those godless communists like a divine shout-out. Now, why the daily recitation? Well, the original intent was to inspire patriotism and unify a nation of diverse immigrants under a single banner of American identity. And sure, there's merit in a shared ritual that fosters a sense of belonging. But, as many a skeptical student has wondered while sleepily mumbling along, does repetitively declaring allegiance to a flag genuinely stir patriotic fervor? Or is it just one of those things we do simply because we've always done it? Critics argue it's a wee bit Orwellian, this compulsory chant of loyalty. Supporters counter that it's a harmless tradition, a moment of collective reflection. Whichever side of the fence you're on, and let's hope it's not a border fence, the pledge remains a unique quirk that is, in our opinion, damn Orwellian. The end.
All right, the Pledge of Allegiance. So this is something that I've actually given a lot of thought about. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you have. Our oldest is in pre-kindergarten right now. And I don't know if they do that because like he was in the afternoon class, so like morning announcements had already passed.
I don't think they do because I think he would be reciting it.
Oh, that's true.
He would probably be saying
He is a repetition kid. Okay. So I've been thinking about like how, like if he goes to school here, like what to tell him about it. And like, in my opinion, he does not have to say it. If he does not want to stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance, he does not have to. Like, I remember doing it and it just being like, all right, I get 30 more seconds of time, like not having to sit down in my chair and like being like, okay, like cool, like my foot up on my chair, like on my, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and it's just like this thing. But I remember it being such a like, there's the bell, there's the morning announcements, there's like the pledge over the speaker, like all the stuff, like and like now looking back at it, like it's fucking creepy.
Yeah. I was always a little stinker about it. Not that people not saying the pledge are stinkers, but as a kid, you're not doing it for like political or like righteous reasons.
Right,
or whatever.
You don't understand.
You're just being like, oh, I don't want to say this is stupid. And so I'd always find a way to like not do it or like mumble or do something. Like I'm sure a lot of kids did. When
it's a chance to goof off.
It is a chance to goof off. When I was in high school, I didn't have to do it for a lot of the time because I was the one doing morning announcements.
Oh.
I think did we do it in high school?
We didn't do it in high school. Elementary school, we did it. You got to get them young.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I don't think our oldest will start it until he's probably first grade, unless it does it in kindergarten. Does anyone know if you do it in kindergarten? Yeah. So I think, oh man, I lost my train of thought. But basically, it is weird. I never liked it. Maybe we should teach our oldest take a knee or just be like Devok and just don't.
Well, that's the thing is that like
I don't have to teach him anything. We just let him know.
No, I want to explain to him that what you're doing is technically taking an oath to your country, and you don't have to do that. You're like another like I mean, obviously it's not legally binding, but children can't sign anything, and like they have no.
Yeah.
So like forcing them to do something that. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure people just consider it pretty innocuous. It's like, oh no, they're standing up and saying something like no one really thinks about it. But like most things with the United States, if you sit and think too long about it, you're able to like peel back a lot of weird layers.
Well, now what state is it? Missouri?
Indiana?
No.
Missouri. I know what you're talking about.
That now has to post the 10 Commandments and you
have to have a Bible in every classroom. Like the good Lord wanted.
Oh my God.
Duh.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They did that. I forget where it is.
I love everyone talking about how to do it with like malicious compliance. So like, great, but post it in Spanish. Or like, or like, post the 10 or like all of the tenets of all of the religions.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, look, okay, but
start teaching like, if you have to teach the Bible now, okay, well, teach about not eating fish and crawfish or mussels or what, teach them that. Like no homework on weekends because they can't do chores on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it's only fair. That's really funny. To do malicious, trying to think of other ways that people would. So
obviously the scary, like the last few Supreme Court decisions have been horrible and terrifying, but the idea is it was entered as in. Oh, I think our dog is locked in the bedroom. So on our.
For everyone listening or watching on the TikTok live, for whatever reason, something happened on our podcast video. We got a bunch of balloons.
What is happening?
Yeah.
I wonder, is that going to be there when we edit? Because
maybe. I hope so. It was a lot of fun.
It's a little party. Hey, next month is my birthday month.
That's true.
If you're on TikTok live right now, come find my own personal TikTok so that I can go live on my personal TikTok for my birthday. If not, we're going to have to do like a business themed type thing. I'll stay here with these people if you go let the dog out.
Okay. Do you want me to stop recording?
No,
real quick?
just
no.
it'll be
Okay, you're on your own.
You can cut around this.
Nope.
Or maybe I'm just gonna be gold.
No edits. I don't want to work.
No edits. We have a diabetic Yorkie that is currently locked in the bedroom that we put our oldest in while we try to record this podcast. So this is what it's like being a small business owner with children and working like full-time jobs. You have 1 hour on a random Saturday to do the thing that you absolutely love to do. So we're here recording our podcast. All right. And don't eat shit as you're coming back.
I just had a little bit of mac and cheese from their lunch.
All right. We're talking about the dystopian future of America. So the 10 Commandments in classrooms, Bibles in classrooms, they have framed it as an historical document or a historical book. And that's why it can be in the classroom. So they're, in opinion, they're going to use that as leverage to hopefully like make it up to the Supreme Court or some type of whatever to be able to do more Christian stuff.
Christian versions of the truth.
Yeah. So
dinosaurs on the ark. Everything only happened 2,000 or whatever thousands of years ago. Yeah, that's messed up, man. I would put like Scientology. Like, fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was books written by people who thought they were being, or by a person who thought that, divined
one of my
into him.
favorite things that the Satanic Temple does is when there's like a monument, like a religious monument erected in a public space, they will put in their permits and erect one for themselves. And it's, my brain is totally leaving, but people fight that so hard, but they are a legally recognized religion.
Yeah.
And so let's just start putting, what is the symbol?
I don't know enough about goat. Is it like a goat thing? Yeah. Okay.
Like the horn. Yeah.
The horn. Dude, it's so badass. Hail Satan.
That we are not religious at all. But if I were to join a religion, it would be that one. They have cards. You could literally be a card carrying member.
The satanic. Wait, so which one is it? Because isn't there two? One's not.
Yeah, no. You want to be like the legit one.
Okay, whichever one that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
They were working on like doing a hospital, having, how like there's like St. Mary's or, they were working on trying to get a hospital under the Satanic Temple or
Beelzebub's
maybe
children's hospital,
but so that they could perform medically needed abortions because that is within their tenets.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think that is a beautiful, use of our Constitution.
Yeah. And for anyone listening, or we're aware that Satanism is like a parody religion. No one's actually being like, we're going to kill people and sacrifice them to Satan.
It isn't. Like, obviously I've done a little bit more research than you have. Their tenets are beautiful. Yes,
that's what I mean. But I mean, like, it's not like on paper, people are like, well, are they evil? They're not. We know they're not.
But Wait, now
are they evil now?
No, they're not evil. But since we're going down this road, we have diverted this topic, but that is fine.
Sorry. Boy.
We're recording a podcast next time. More likes can attract more. Oh, sorry. We're getting notifications from TikTok.
Yeah. Well, keep liking people.
Yeah,
Thank you, TikTok. We haven't forgotten about you.
Sorry, India won the World Cup. I'm like so out of everything. What was I saying? Religion.
So if we're going down this road, talking about
one of like the theories that I think is pretty cool as like a theory is that, you know, there's like a lot of like theories about like Loki and stuff like that, but that God himself, like in the like Christian religion, is actually Satan.
Oh yeah, I've
like,
heard that. Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's
and that's
cool.
like the big twist.
Yeah. But so then, like, technically, like the people that are worshiping Satan are worshiping the good guy.
Well, no, I think the twist is people who are kind of just good people who don't do anything to like worship an idol or like, you know, whatever, like don't like look up to a God, but instead find power of goodness within themselves. Without that, those are the people who win. Doesn't matter. Like, I feel like if you're worshiping anybody, you lose. And that's also the trick.
I worship myself.
That's true. Yes. As we all should. We'll worship you and get.
Please worship me. Wow, we have gone a long way from the Pledge of Allegiance.
This is great. That's what conversations do. Also, was there really that much more to talk about the Pledge of Allegiance? Talked about Senor Montez.
I don't know. I want to hear more about how you led the announcements in school.
Yes, I was on. So this is actually very interesting. I was very popular in the latter half of my high school career. I was oh my goodness, what was I? Treasurer, secretary, something in junior year, but both junior and senior year. Senior as vice president of student body, no big deal. Was just chosen to do morning announcements because aside from a couple of slip-ups reading this book, I actually read very well cold. And so
unlike me.
So there you go. So I was chosen to do the morning. Also, I would make jokes during rallies and stuff. I was the one they would hand the mic to because I could always trick the crowd into being quiet. Like everyone would be too loud. I'd be like, oh my God, guys, shh. And everyone like, what's happening? I'd be like, okay, thank you. And like hand the microphone over to the people who needed to speak. And so I was very good with a microphone. That's why I got to do more.
So you should have been, the warm-up guy? Should have been a warm-up guy on Conan or something like that.
Yeah, no, I could have been. All you need is like a bunch of candy to throw people in some like.
So we also used to live in LA.
No disrespect to Jimmy Pardo, who I know is listening and watching, who was also a Conan warm-up guy. He did it differently, but yes. Anyway,
he didn't have the candy?
He did not have the candy.
Well,
he did improvise jokes.
Did not need the candy. But so we've been to a lot of tapings of shows. Some of them we were paid audience, and some of them we were like actually wanting to spectate. But
which is funny. You could tell the good, no offense to anyone paying their audiences, but you could tell the good ones if you were going for free.
Oh yeah.
Versus having to be paid to sit there and endure whatever. Although we did get to see Tom Green in a show. I don't know if you remember that. It was a short-lived thing on Fuel TV. It was at the Sony lot, and Tom Green was a guest.
Vaguely remember. What did we see?
I can't remember the show. I just remember Tom Green
vaguely remember.
was a guest, and that was a big deal for me in the moment because he was a big part of my childhood.
I was paid to watch that like cooking competition show.
Oh, which one? Not Iron Chef.
No. It was like when that one guy like goes head to head like with another chef.
Beat Bobby Flay? No.
Yeah.
Wait, yes. No. Would it be? No. Yes?
Yeah.
Cool. I like that one.
Yeah. So like that was fun. Although that whole like the cooking show industry is so wasteful. And it makes me so upset.
It's my only, I will admit, live on here, it is, I do think about that. I do still watch them, but I think it's because I love it so much ever since I was a kid.
No, I have such a hard time like competition shows like that. Like they throw away the food.
They have to, yeah.
Like
it's so weird.
So if it's been in the fridge, it gets thrown away.
Yes.
Like if it's been on the table, it gets thrown away. Even if it's something that like hasn't been used, like they give me 3 limes and I only use 2, that third lime is going to get thrown away.
Some insane regulation thing. Yeah, like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Sometimes if it's cooked or prepared, they can give it to staff, like the like crew, and they'll eat it, but it gets thrown away.
Yeah, I wonder if that's only for cooking shows, because I started watching season 3 of The Bear last night. In the first episode, actually, obviously the show has a lot of food in it, but the first episode especially has so much food in it because it's a 35-minute montage, basically, the whole episode. And I'm like, what do they do with the food on those shows? Because they're preparing real,
there's probably
refrigerated,
more,
like cooked meat, and
right. So there's probably more crew to feed.
Yeah.
Versus the probably 20 people that you have on like a reality show. There's like
non-union.
Yeah.
That also might be part of it, is that union rules could dictate, hey guys, like we can do in non-union shows. They're like,
yeah, I don't know. But if it's also a TV show, there's a lot of like prop.
If anyone knows,
like food. I know they use like real food for cooking,
right, but other
like,
things,
there's
yes,
a lot of prop
yeah.
Since we're talking about the
bear,
not the bear, like production. I just watched I Am Celine.
Oh yeah, you told me
the Celine Dion documentary, and I love Celine Dion. Like, not that I like love her music, but like I love, like, she's, you know, I don't know, she's very talented. I remember seeing, when I was like junior high, maybe seeing her Vegas residency.
Oh yeah.
Very, 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 very talented and very business savvy. I watched her documentary. Absolutely heartbreaking. The disease she has is so rare and debilitating, and just, I can't imagine like going through that. But my brain has changed so much in the last few years because of being educated about everything that's going on in the world and everything that's going on in this country, that like I can't look at anything the same. Like, her showing her shoe closet that was literally bigger than our closet and like retracted and moved, and like, this was years ago. Like, she has a warehouse of like all of her costumes and all of her memories, and like I love that for her, that like she can indulge in that. But I'm like, oh my god, the lavishness that people have when so many have nothing, it just infuriates me now. I can't watch it. And then the other thing that got me was like the last part of the movie. It's been all over TikTok, but the last part of the movie has been was the like actively showing one of her seizures. And it's heartbreaking. And she has her team like rubbing her back, like, we're going to be with you, like, we're going to give you nasal spray, we're going to call 911 if like you know, like, you don't come out of this in a few minutes. But my brain now goes to, she's a multi-millionaire. Like, I don't know, she's got a shit ton of money.
Maybe 9 figures.
Like, what about the people that don't have that? Like, that doesn't have that team, that doesn't have it. Like, I can't imagine what those people go through. And just the wealth disparity. And
well, hopefully she recognizes that she is very lucky to have that.
She seems that way. I have not seen her support a family in Gaza.
Okay, well. Yeah, I mean, what is it? I just had a thought in my head and now I can't remember. I think about that a lot with people like Jerry Seinfeld, and like Jay Leno with their buildings full of cars. Yeah. Like, Seinfeld has a New York City garage of cars. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it just, it's insane.
Just the excess that people have. My brain is different now, being in this space and I'm grateful for that, but it just makes the things that I used to love so much harder to enjoy. Like, even music. Like, I think about like, okay, where does this artist stand on issues? Like, I remember summers ago, and this was like a long time ago, so don't come at me, but like rocking down to Kid Rock.
Yeah, right.
Like, loving it and just being like, yeah. And now I'm like, the fuck? Like, what was I thinking? Like, granted, please don't take that as my music taste. It was a summer jam.
Exclusively listening
summer
to Kid
jam.
Rock.
But like, yeah, just so much has changed. I'm very grateful for that. I think also going through like learning all the things that we learned through publishing this book.
Yeah, that's true.
Like based off of like all the essays that are in it and all the, you know, like helped with that awakening, and has also been like a great outlet for that.
Yeah, I think so. Like there's 76 essays in this book. I'd say a decent amount of them were things that I didn't know much about before. So I'm definitely grateful for that. It's going to suck though, because when we're like mega rich, we're not going to be able to enjoy it. And we're going to end up giving away all our money.
As it should be.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to be a billionaire so that I could fix shit.
You know who's a billionaire and gave away their money to charity? It didn't make them any better of a person. J.K. Rowling.
Okay. What did she give away?
I don't know. She denounced, like, or she didn't denounce, but she like
probably
gave away
it.
her billionaire status by giving away money to charity. Like she was a billionaire, and then she was like, no, I'll just be a millionaire.
No, you know what she probably did? She probably gave away just enough to like fall right under the next tax bracket.
Probably. Well, now knowing what we know about her, yes, that's probably what she did.
At
the time, it was so noble, and people were like, "Oh my god, like she's kind of a saint." And now it turns out she's a monster person.
Yeah.
Anyway, so anyone joining us right now, we don't like J.K. Rowling.
I've actually. This is really controversial, and I don't care.
Come back around on her?
No. I have not read Harry Potter.
Oh, that's fine.
So I'm dyslexic. So fantasy is really, really hard for me.
Yeah, it's a lot of made up insanity.
Yeah. So my brain is just it like audiobook I could do, but even then, like my brain isn't really wired for it to like understand. Like if you created a language, I'm so sorry. Like I can't.
Yeah.
Good for you. You are so fucking talented, but like my brain just can't do it.
Also, even if you could do the
but I can still
book,
recognize like the good writing in it, but it's just not my jam personally.
No, you like a lot of nonfiction.
Yeah.
Which is good. So do I. What else do we have? Do we have anything else? Not to put it on you, but
I don't think so. We did 2 essays. We'll remind you about our newsletter. Sign up for our newsletter. Our author spotlight. If you are an indie author yourself or you know one, please share this with them, this information. We highlight our authors once a month, so keep those submissions coming in.
And it's only getting more popular.
Oh, yeah.
So the longer you wait.
Legit, I think like triple the size, at least double, maybe.
I'd say triple at least a couple months.
And June was our 6 months. We started in January, right?
January. I think we started February. We were weird. We were supposed to start at the beginning of the year.
We messed up.
I just don't want anyone to fact check us. Yeah, we did mess up. We started later than we wanted to. Doesn't matter. No one cared at the time, but now looking back, it's like the 4th or 5th month we've done it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's growing very, very quickly. So that's awesome.
Yeah. But that means more competition. So get your stuff in early and often.
Yes. And just practice submitting your stuff. Granted, like our submission is like nothing like what like a real like query would be, but
still submit it.
Put your work out there is what we're saying, whether it's with us or for yourself. Put your work out there. People like
it. People read it. It counts for something. And people who submit have the option of appearing on this very podcast and discussing their piece with us. So not only that, but you'll get to read it on the podcast. People can watch it, listen to it. You can reach more people that way with your writing. Who wouldn't want to do that? But yeah, so I think that's very important. The other important thing is the reason why we're here. We read a couple essays from this book, Silly American, mainly because we love this book. We're very proud of it. We wanted to get into the hands of everybody, but there are only, or less than at this point, 100 copies. We don't know if we're going to print more. And that is not because of any other reason than we're just testing the waters. We're new to the game, publishing physical books. And so, at least for the time being, this will become an out-of-print book by design. So if you're on TikTok shop, our website. So I'm looking at the out-of-frame phone if you're watching the podcast. Otherwise, find our website, Google Moxie Press. I don't have to tell you all the places we're at. Just know that we are Moxie Press, moxiepress.biz, Moxie Press on all the socials, all that stuff in the episode description. Find it. Get this book. Ebook will be available forever. Like, great. And you can always get that. But if you love holding a book in your hand,
I do.
This is it. And you heard firsthand, these are short essays. This is the perfect beach or even
3 to 4 pages.
Yeah. I think the first one I did on Americans is technically 2 pages. It just happens to run onto a third page because of the first page, the title of the chapter. It's great. But my point being is that they are that short. Great beach read, great toilet read. We're not ashamed to say that. Please read it on the toilet. It's great.
It could help you not be on the toilet as long.
That's true.
Not because you're going to shit your bricks from like the content of the book, but like.
But yeah, also part of like maybe you'll just be like, I can't take America right now, and you need it in smaller chunks. I don't know, but this is a great book, and we want you to have it. So please do. But I think that's probably it for us. We're pushing our luck with our children being asleep, so
someone's gonna wake up.
Should go out on top. So until next time, lead with Moxie. We did it.
We did it. Yay.